lies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I watched the housemates' final wager task presentation of the season last night. And it was quite beautiful. A very teary night indeed, quite emotional, brought tears to my eyes. I felt some of the pieces the housemates presented, felt some of the eulogies, they presented to their ex housemate. I felt the emotion. I felt the genuineness in some of their words, in some of their speeches. I felt the power when they shared their journey, when they talked about their growth, when they, talked about the lessons learned in Big Brother's house, the challenges, the task, the victories, and just the beauty of having gone through this entire journey and coming out as a shining star. It was quite beautiful to watch and to listen to, as a matter of fact, I was quite proud of some of them, in fact, all of them. However, in the midst of all of these beauty, in the midst of all of these emotions, I just could not help cringing at one or two persons, my God, how do I say this? I just could not help but cringe at a fake apology tendered. Ladies and gentlemen, you see, that apology was so fake. It was so fake for a lot of reasons. Yeah, but the most obvious reason is that it was all for the highlight, it was all performative. It was all for the sake of, completing what was on that paper. I listened to that apology, even watched the aftermath of that apology that did not come with any remorse or an attempt to clear the air or an attempt to finally make peace. Yes, you guessed right, in case you're wondering or guessing already. I'm referring to Onyeka'S apology to Victoria. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into this video. We're going to analyze the housemates' speeches, maybe not all of them in details, but those ones that really stood out, for me personally. We're going to analyze it. And of course, I would love to hear from you, housemates' presentation that really stood out for you. Please go ahead and share in the comment section below. And also let me know what you think about Wanni's apology to Nelly and Onyeka'S apology to Victoria. Was there any similarities there? And did you see any difference there? Any major or striking difference there? Please let me know in the comment section below. And you're welcome to my channel. My name is Gloria Elijah. This is Frankly Speaking with Gloria Elijah, and I am the girl with the tea. Before we get right into this analysis, guys, just a quick reminder that today is Saturday, and by 3 p.m. WAT, you already know what we do on here. I look forward to seeing all of you at our YouTube live conversation. Yes, in other words, our community gathering. There's a lot to talk about, there's a lot to unpack, and I cannot wait to see all of you. So please make sure you come through. It's today. All right, I've been announcing it, so it's actually today. Look at me, I almost spilled my tea. Yeah, so it's today. Make sure you come through, please. I look forward to seeing all of you. Now, without further ado, let's just proceed with the rest of this analysis. Now, aside sharing about their growth, their journey, their lessons learned, and everything in between, the housemates had also been instructed to choose at least two of their fellow ex-housemates, to speak about how they have impacted, in their lives during their stay in Big Brother's house, how they had contributed to their growth, to their journey. And I've done a video sharing the details of how they were able to finally assign different ex-housemates, to themselves. Yes, I'd also shared on that video how there was a major hesitation from the rest of the house, to speak about the DRC agent. And so it was left to Victoria and Kelly Ray, to take on that responsibility to speak about their friends. Yes, which they did last night. But before we get to that, let's begin with the first presentation. Yes, and this one was from Nelly. Ladies and gentlemen, First off, Nelly spoke about the street spare and who else? Chinne, and oh my goodness, Nelly's speech was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, beautifully crafted, beautifully constructed, and beautifully delivered. Her growth was quite evident in that written piece, and I was so proud of Nelly. Remember, she had always talked about how public presentation was an easy peasy task for her outside the house, but then the moment she got into Big Brother's house, you know, it felt like she had lost her confidence and she did not just know how to go about it. But now she is back in her game. You know, she also spoke about the fact that from the very first night of entering Big Brother's house, she had sustained an injury, and that injury had affected her for weeks. Guys, we all recall Nelly's knee injury. That thing traumatized her for weeks. It was almost like a huge setback, you know, for her in most of the activities in the house. You know, she felt like an invalid, but as time went on, she healed. In fact, there was even a time when it looked like she was healing, but then she fell again during a task or challenge in the arena. Okay, no, not a challenge. It was during a workout session in the morning, one of those mornings like that, and the wounds had reopened, and it was so traumatizing for her. I felt really bad for her. But you know, fast forward to her speech last night, that was beautiful. Guys, it was just beautiful. Yes, I absolutely loved it. Now, the next person that presented was Wanni, and we know that there's no Wanni speech without tears. Yes, so it was a tears galore. Wanni was shedding tears as she was reading her piece. Of course, she spoke about her sister Ndi, and also spoke about Sean. She spoke about Biggie, and I think she also spoke about the top 8 finalists. And frankly speaking, I wasn't really, you know, satisfied that she spoke only about the 2 people that directly impacted on her life. Yes, because I was kind of expecting her to have taken on more people to speak about. Yes, for me, that felt like she did not just want to go out of her comfort zone. Yes, because hey, everybody in that house had people in their own circle, but then according to Big Brother's instructions, they were able to stretch wide their nets and speak about other people, you know, outside their circle. Yes, but regardless, her speech was beautiful, and I'm going to be frank with all of you. I was flowing when she was speaking about Ndi. I've always talked about how I adore those 2 girls' bond, how I adore their relationship, how I adore, you know, the connection that they have. Yes, but one sort of lost me when she started speaking about Sean. See, guys, as far as I'm concerned, I will never see the connection between Wanni and Sean. Why? Because I think I saw too many things, you know, that sort of scarred my sense of acceptance and romance, or whatever is going on between those 2 people. I do not see romance there. I do not see acceptance there, because she kept on talking about how Sean made her life easy or beautiful in Big Brother's house, how Sean accepted her, how Sean made her feel special. She was using a lot of flowery language to describe the guy and her relationship with the guy. And this is not to say that Sean is actually a bad person, but the way he treated Wanni in that house, it was very distasteful to watch. Strategy or not, the way he treated that girl in that house, the way he disrespected her, the way he was rude to her, the way he spoke about her, and Wanni was equally a handful, don't get me wrong, but it was very glaring for all to see that Wanni was only a useful maid for Sean in that house. The emotions or whatever that Wanni is still thinking was reciprocated. It did not look that way. Yes, I don't know what they did in the closet, but every time the camera was on them, even listening to the way Sean spoke about Wanni to his friends, guys, it was very, very distasteful. The way he spoke about Wanni when they had issues to Onyeka'S, to them by the way twins, it was very, very disgusting to listen to. So listening to her, you know, speak about all the amazing things that Sean did for her, or how Sean made her life beautiful in Big Brother's house, it was, guys, I lost, like I zoned out. I stopped listening at that point, and then I continued listening, after she was done spewing all of her rubbish and lies, because for me those are just lies. Well, but you know what? Yeah, you know what? Let me just give it to her, because that is her personal experience, right? So who am I at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, to try to invalidate whatever she felt she experienced with Sean? So if she felt like Sean made her feel special, if she felt like Sean made her feel like the best thing before fried rice and beans, then so be it. But as far as I'm concerned, as one who watched the show for the whole 70-something days that we're on now, I saw different. And I know I'm not the only one that actually saw what I saw. But hey, that is just my personal observation and opinion. Yes, my opinion was crafted out of my observation of what they both portrayed on the show. Yes, but as I'll always tell all of you guys, I would love to hear your own perspective on this particular matter. All right, now still on Wanni's presentation, yes, I mentioned before that it was quite teary. She was crying, and then she apologized to Nelly. Yes, she apologized to Nelly for all of the nasty things that she had actually said, and she had apologized, to Nelly, if those things had really hurt her, and yes, I loved the apology. But guys, I'm still going to point out the fact that this is not just about Wanni, yes, but just on general terms. I've always said this, and I think people should actually learn this. When you are apologizing to someone for something and you now add if, automatically it waters down the strength and the depth of that apology. You are turning the apology into a condition, or you are basing the apology on the condition of if you hurt them. I mean, come on. You said something nasty about someone, and you saw how that person reacted to it. The person recoiled from you, and you went on and on talking about it. Come on, So what's the point of saying, oh, I'm sorry if what I said hurt you? No. It's better to say, oh, I'm sorry for saying the things I said about you. I know they were vile, or I know they were not good, and I know they hurt you. Because you know that if somebody said the same thing to you, it would definitely hurt you. But yes, apology was tendered, and Nelly accepted it. She equally serenaded her fellow top 8 or top 7 finalists, and yeah, it was a beautiful one from Wanni. Now, the next presentation was from Victoria, and it was beautiful. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, I must say this, yeah? You see, the friendship between Victoria and Cassia, it's so beautiful, so pure, so genuine. I mean, I've looked at, like, when we talk about friendships that were formed in the house, I've looked at all the friendships, and as far as I'm concerned, that is the purest of them all. That is the only friendship from this season that has no ulterior motive. That is the friendship, that's the only friendship from this season that comes from a place of genuineness, a place of longing, of needing, a confidant, of, a place of just genuinely liking the other person for who they are, for just seeing them as a safe haven, for just seeing them as a breath of fresh air in such a confined space, in such a toxic environment. How they both created that safe haven, that safe space, for one another, for them to find comfort, to find solace, to find warmth. Everything she said about Cassia, it was beautiful. I know I even saw on social media that Cassia was live streaming, and she was so happy, she was so excited. And you see, there's nothing as beautiful as knowing that your feelings towards someone else, whether, be it platonic or romantic, that it is requited, that it is reciprocated. We saw that their energy was actually reciprocated in the house. But then having, to watch, that's Cassia watching Victoria from home, it was so beautiful seeing her reaction. Yeah, so that was beautiful. And Victoria's speech about her own growth, ladies and gentlemen, it is, oh my God, it is miraculous. It is beautiful. And, also listening to Victoria's speech about her own self, her growth, her journey, ladies and gentlemen, it is still amazing to me how Victoria evolved. The first 2 weeks was a struggle. Guys, we all talked about it. I especially was livid, because I felt like maybe she was just faking it, or maybe she was just, guys, we saw all of that, but look at where she is today. It was just a beautiful testimony from her. And then she spoke about DJ Flo as well. DJ Flo was one of those, people that impacted majorly in her life. One of those people that also contributed greatly to encouraging her, to coming out of her shell in the first 2 weeks, which was a struggle for her. She also spoke about Ruthie, gave Ruthie her flowers on being an incredible mom to her daughter, for being strong, for being resilient. And then for Ruthie, she had gone ahead to say that she wished that others had had the opportunity, to experience Ruthie the way she experienced Ruthie, because it was a beautiful experience. I mean, when she said that, I just could not help but smile, because that really warmed my heart. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I was kind of scared that Victoria might not really have much to say about Ruthie. Yeah, so that was really beautiful. I mean, the best compliment even coming from Victoria to Ruthie, regardless of how, everybody else in the house or even on the outside perceives her. Now, as much as that was beautiful, there was this face that Wanni made. Now, frankly speaking, on the one hand, I wouldn't really blame her because of her own personal experience with Ruthie. I mean, I do not expect her to stand up and give Victoria a standing ovation to have said what she said about Ruthie. But on the flip side, I felt like that was not just the place and time. Because, girl, listening to all of your flowery speeches and, description of Sean, your fellow housemates could as well have, given you that stank face, because they know that some of the things we're saying were not true. So I just felt like that was totally uncalled for. That was completely unnecessary, because, hey, girl, you just cried and cried and cried talking about the people that you like. So somebody else is talking about the people that you impacted on their life, and you are making faces. Why? It doesn't really make sense. But anyways, that is on the flip side. Moving on, Kelly Ray's presentation was also very beautiful and really inspiring. Yeah, listening to him share his story and his journey through the Big Brother house, through the entire season, and equally once again sharing, or rather expressing, his regret at lying to his fellow housemates about his marital status, and further giving the reason, which is the same as the one he had given before. It was just beautiful listening to his growth. I mean, his growth is quite evident. We saw how this young man carried himself in the house with so much grace, and equally gave the same grace to others around him. Yes. But what really stood out for me in Kelly Ray's presentation was how he was able to, coin words for Dami and Chinwe. Now, let's not forget that Kelly Ray has people that he naturally bonded with, from the very first week. The fact that he is friends with the DRC agents does not mean that he did not have people that he genuinely bonded with. Yes, and when we're talking about those people, there's his partner and his wife, of course, Cassia. There was Michky. There was Zion, right? There was Zion. Who else? I think there was also, I think there was OC as well. But because of the hesitation of his fellow finalists, to speak about the DRC agents, that's with the exception of himself and Victoria, of course, he had decided to sacrifice speaking about these other people that he actually had a solid bond with, to accommodate these people. And so he had to speak about Chinwe and Dami. Though it was brief, but at least he was able to coin something out of it. And it was quite distasteful, seeing the likes of Suj and Nelly laughing about it. And I'm just laughing. I said, if people don't win this grand prize, it's going to be the DRC agents laughing at you all at the end of the day, because all of those faces they were making, the smirks, the smug look, I just felt like it was quite unnecessary. But overall, for Kelly Ray, I felt like it was such a noble act. Him and Victoria, that was such a noble act that they took on that responsibility to talk about the outcast of the house. Now, the next presentation was from Anita, yes, and she was quite eloquent with it, yes. She spoke about her journey just like everybody else, and she also serenaded her friends, Ben, Nne and Tofa. But her story about her connection with Nne was what really stood out for me, yes, besides the fact that I did not really, feel that emotion in her speech. Yes, she had talked about her excitement at, finally meeting another tall girl, you know, and the fact that they had bonded over their struggles, you know, being able to have conversations about, you know, the struggles to find clothes that fit, you know, in terms of relationships as well, just talking about some of the inconveniences of being the tallest person, you know, in the room sometimes. And I felt like that was quite beautiful, and I really do hope that outside the house that they foster their relationship, because I see something beautiful blooming from there. Now, Serge's presentation was beautiful. As a matter of fact, he dropped a very a very vital quote, which I'm going to share in a short while. Yeah, but he had spoken about Toyosi, Michky, Tofa, and OC's impact on his life and in his stay in Big Brother's house. You know, each of the stories he told about these people were very beautiful. We saw for ourselves, so there's no need going into all of those things, you know. But then he had talked about how, you know, he waits patiently for his turn, for things to happen for him and for his favor or in his favor. And that was when he had said that if you see me, and that was when he had said that if you see me with what I deserve, just know that I have waited patiently for it. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, that was such a resounding quote, or should I say statement. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I was just giving this guy accolades. I was giving him accolades here. Now, it was Onyeka'S turn. And she spoke about a lot of people. Yes, and I wouldn't blame her for it, because she actually had, you know, good relationships with quite a number of her fellow housemates. However, I was actually expecting her to narrow it down to maybe 3 or 4, just as Big Brother's brief stipulated, yes. But then she spoke about her sister, Chizoba, spoke about Mbadiwe twins with more emphasis on OC, spoke about Sean, spoke about Fairme, yes, and spoke about Ndi as well. And then she, you know, talked about a lot of people, as she put it. And that was where she tendered that apology to Victoria, because she was mentioning people's names, especially the top 7 finalists right there in the arena. And then it seemed like she was not going to mention Victoria's name because they had issues, right? And then she felt obliged to mention Victoria's name. And that was where she went on to say, oh, Victoria, and don't think I'm not going to mention your name. I'm going to mention your name. I'm sorry if what has happened between us. What did she say? She said, you are one person that I really love, and I do not hold anything against you in my heart. And she apologized. And ladies and gentlemen, hey God, I listened to that apology, and for me, Onyeka should not have even bothered. Like, girl, you should have just kept it moving. Because ladies and gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned, that apology was fake as fuck. It was fake. Yes, because remember, this is not the first time that Onyeka is saying that she does not hold anything against Victoria in her heart. But last week, during the whole fighting thingy with the DRC agents, all of a sudden, she just dragged Victoria and Cassia into the whole mix. And she never stopped. This entire week, she and Wanni, they've been at it. They've been at it. And sometimes Nelly joins them. So, listening to her talk about, you're one person that I really love, and I do not hold anything against you in my heart, it made me wonder, like, what kind of love do you have for this girl? Is it the love of obsession? Because from the look of things, if Onyeka is friends with you and you are now friends with someone that she's not on good terms with, it's like it's a problem. And she had always complained about it. It seemed like Cassia is one person that she does not like and she never wants to like. So the fact that Victoria is best friends with Cassia, I don't know if that's what eats her up. Oh, and there's also the whole Ozzy thing, the whole Ozzy triangle. It's like Victoria is dragging Ozzy with her. You know, so that whole situation. So listening to that apology, I just thought, girl, You should have just kept it moving. There was no need to have mentioned Victoria's name at all. And I love the fact that Victoria did not give any reaction. The Victoria was just there because, come on, she's no fool. She knows Onyeka even more than us. Yes, because they live in that house together, you know. So I love the fact that she did not give any reaction. And there's also the part where I was sort of expecting that after the whole show, the whole speech and everything, she was going to walk up to Victoria and give Victoria a hug. And, you know, do another face-to-face talk like, oh, I'm so sorry, whatever. Or maybe after the wager, when they get into the house, maybe she would pull Victoria aside for a conversation just to solidify that apology. But Onyeka did none of that. She did none of that. And I'm glad that Victoria wasn't even expecting it. Victoria just went about her, you know, normal business. She wasn't expecting it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that apology for me, as I said before, it was fake as fuck, yes. And there was this sermon that Onyeka was now giving. I just felt like, girl, it's unnecessary. Come on. You've said it during your diary session that you want to pass on a message. You've passed on the message. You're spending over 15 minutes on your wager talking about morals and whatnot. Girl, you shouldn't be the one saying all of these things. So just keep it moving. Keep it moving. But anyways, her speech finally ended, because I thought it was never going to end, yes. And good thing was Big Brother was not really buzzing out anybody. It just allowed them the freedom to really express themselves. Yes, so finally, Ozzy gave his presentation, and hey, ladies and gentlemen, woo, Ozzy's presentation. So first off, he spoke about Chizoba, spoke about TJ, spoke about OC, his brother, right? And his speech was a beautiful one. Spoke about the triple O, his friendship with Onyeka, his brother, and himself, how when they come together, ideas flow, blah, blah, blah. Now, the part where Ozzy lost me in that his beautiful speech was where he now said that he came to the house on a mission, you know, to rewrite his narrative, the ugly narrative about him and his brother on the outside, you know, that he came into the house to clear the misconceptions about himself, and he believes he has done so. Ladies and gentlemen, question for all of you. Do you honestly think that Ozzy successfully cleared all the misconceptions about himself and his brother? Do you honestly think so? Because as far as I'm concerned, Ozzy successfully worsened that misconception, whatever it is. If there's a misconception about him being a chronic liar, or let's call it a blatant liar, or one that's very manipulative, I do not think he cleared that misconception. Because first off, with the whole triangle situation, yes, it's a game, but the way he lied about that kiss with Onyeka, the one that happened in the kitchen with Chizoba as a witness, I am still left baffled till today. And then we all saw the kiss that happened during the pool party on Thursday. Now, as I explained on my previous video, I felt very strongly like he and Onyeka planned it, right? So he had walked up to Onyeka while she was in the pool, grabbed her head the same way he did it the first time, and kissed her. But after the pool party, Ozzy was, you know, blaming Onyeka for inserting herself into whatever he had going on with Victoria. He said that Onyeka created the triangle. Yes, I believe that. But then now claiming that he did not kiss her. He did not kiss anybody. Even Onyeka that lied the first time that they did not kiss, she was equally baffled. That Thursday night after the pool party, she was equally shocked. Like, who did you now kiss? This guy was still lying that he did not kiss anybody in this house, that he has never kissed anybody in the house. I'm like, how can somebody be so good at lying that they even do not, like, they even believe their own lies? So listening to him talk about in his presentation, no, I believe I have done that, I have cleared the misconceptions. I'm like, Oga, you have a lot of questions to answer during your media rounds, and I hope you're prepared. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, whatever. But that was that. It was a beautiful presentation from all the housemates, and of course, we know that Big Brother himself is also going to serenade all of them, which he did, you know, and he took out time to serenade them, to celebrate them as well, and it was such a beautiful night. Told them there was no verdict as they have won in life. Yes. And so he had dismissed all of them, and that was how the final wager task presentation of the season ended. Ladies and gentlemen, it was beautiful. Now, one thing I failed or maybe forgot to mention, which I'm mentioning right now, is the fact that all the games the housemates have played this season, all the challenges, all the twists, all the tasks, all their creations, everything that defines their challenges, in the house and the competitive spirit of the season, everything was used to decorate the arena. So it really stood out. It gave the night's presentation this beautiful, nostalgic air, and it was just very beautiful, as a viewer watching everything play out and also listening to the housemates speak about their journey and sharing their lessons learned. So ladies and gentlemen, I would love to hear from you, your thoughts about last night's wager presentation. Please go ahead and share your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll see you guys on another video, or today by 3 p.m. WAT. All right, thanks for watching and have an amazing day. Bye.